And Deb, let me start with you. When you look at what Facebook has done around video ads, what are the underlying trends that are driving that?
Up and up. Facebook is really getting a lot more traction in video, and it's building an interesting platform for marketers to use. Mark Zuckerberg said today during the keynote that a few years ago we only used text on Facebook. Then we transitioned to images. Now we're transitioning to video, and we're making it more and more of a platform for advertisers as well, and they really appreciate it.
So, because they talk about so much in the conference calls, and it seems, and I also hear Yahoo and others talking about this. Is this an area where the revenues or the CPMs are higher than they are with just text-based ads?
They can be, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think video in general has higher CPMs than other types of advertising, and that's a good thing for Facebook. I mean, the more video advertising they can sell, the better, the higher revenues they'll be able to get.
And for advertisers, when you look at it from the agency side of things, what do you see them doing, and what do you wish they could do better?
Well, video definitely is higher CPM and higher revenue, but it's a proven format from television. So what's interesting is we're sort of in a post-broadcast world where you can aggregate huge audiences without needing to be in primetime television.
Right.
So they're just, I think, they're sort of in a learning phase. We're seeing the new advertisers. The New York Times does a great job, putting advertising on there, putting video on there. And so what I'd like to see. I think Facebook is figuring out just now how big their reach is, how to price it, how to look at it compared to TV, and getting some of the data back. Is this equal or better in sort of effectiveness versus television? So that's where the next sort of place to go for video is online.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like from the very early days of the internet, I'm not dating either one of us, but we worked together a long time ago. We talked a lot about these issues of, wouldn't it be great if you could measure advertising, because then you'll know exactly who you're reaching. The problem is every time advertising's been measured, CPMs go down. And that's been true across all industries, and we see it across the internet. Yeah. Are we going to see that in the same in video, that maybe Facebook won't have the biggest video business, but once they're measuring CPMs, television advertising rates will collapse?
It's very possible. I mean, I think we've talked about the internet being the most measurable medium for years and years and years, and we're getting there thanks to in a large part to what Facebook's doing. They know who you are, they know what you like, they know what you're writing about, what you're interested in, and they can target ads to that. And then they can measure the effectiveness on the back end. So if you saw a video ad on Facebook for a car, and then you went perhaps to a dealer and ended up buying that car, they might be able to know that the ad helped trigger that. And that, I think, would be more valuable ultimately than less valuable.
You would think so, but that's how far it hasn't proven to be. Are there tools that Facebook can offer? Because I think the ways that ads are being served up to consumers, we watch Mad Men, and we see, hey, a bunch of guys dummy something up, and they stick it in front, which is dumb. Literally, it was put it up and hope that it works. With this ability to real-time auction ads, to put ads up that are very contextually based, both the time and place and the person viewing them, what kind of tools does Facebook have that are unique?
So it's interesting. Just you talked about sort of, when the more it's measured, sometimes it goes down. Well, there's actually a counter trend happening in the banner space where it did hit a bottom, but now with the right tracking and the right value association, there actually are trends up for quality inventory. I think on the video side, sorry, can you say the second part?
Well, so I wonder what tools connect all these things and makes Facebook unique among the companies.
So one of the most powerful things they've done in the last few years was work with a company called Datalogics, which powers a loyalty back end of grocery stores, so they can actually tie real purchase behavior, not in real time, but in pretty close time, in a week or month's time, back to your ad at the personal level. And that's been a really powerful tool for them.
Really?
Yeah. So that's really.
So they'll be able to see that I saw a Heinz ketchup ad, and then I went to Safeway a week later and bought Heinz ketchup.
Precisely, and hold a control out so that they can actually show the real incremental value of the ad to you. And we've been experimenting with that as an agency, even experimenting with talking to Facebook fans. And even if you're already a fan of something, an advertising to them will increase the return.
You were going to say?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, I think that going back to my point before about wanting to know if the advertising is effective, Facebook, by being able to target people pretty precisely with advertising and then letting the advertiser know whether or not someone actually viewed the ad and then went and made a purchase is pretty revolutionary, not just in video advertising, but in advertising in general. And that's pretty exciting. And I think that's what's driving a lot of the interest.
That's sort of a trend right now. In just e-commerce plays where you could track things through the pure digital connection. That was sort of the first Web 1.0. But now, as we have all these tools and have Walmarts of the world and the Amazons of the world and data logics and loyalty programs stitching it back, we're really seeing what used to be called brand advertising be tied to a revenue event and a revenue return with much more fidelity.
Scott, I got to ask you about this media thing. Yesterday we saw this news that the likes of the New York Times and BuzzFeed would essentially turn over their publishing to Facebook and publish on that platform only. And in one of my hits yesterday, I referred to it as idiotic, or potentially idiotic. And I got an email from a senior media executive at a company I won't name, but the guy said, yeah, idiotic's exactly right. And I wonder, when you look at that as an advertiser, is the risk just so apparent that why would these guys do something like that?
Well, it's not exclusively.
No, we don't know.
So I think it just shows,
and it will also change.
It shows how powerful. Talking about the media shift to a mobile world, and a mobile world that's still where content is accessed by apps. And you just talked about 600 million installs of Messenger. That's the power Facebook has, and the fear that traditional publishers have about where are they going to find the people, especially on mobile and especially when they're accessing through apps. Mark just talked in the keynote too about, every time there's a splintering, if there's 14 apps of ways to get into access something, many of them won't be good, and the best one probably won't be used. If Facebook can be between better and best and access all those and provide a convenient back end for developers, that's really powerful, and that's something that even somebody like the New York Times will have a hard time competing with for that access.
Scott